the card, light switch, Jay White is back with Juice Robinson. And of course, Juice comes out on the stage with him and pats him on the back and turns around and leaves. The only motherfucker that I would like to see. And he's the one that turns around and leaves. And then here comes Hangnail Adam Page. So, Brian, do we remember why that Jay White and Juice Robinson switched babyface, or did they just show back up that way?
Well, that's the
Jay was off for a long time because he was. Well, now wait a minute. Juice was hurt.
Yeah,
and was off for a while. So then, was Jay White hurt also?
Maybe.
Well, did they both? Were they in a fucking cab that got hit by a bus? Well, how did they?
That's what happens in AEW. We'll talk about it later. How's Adam Cole the devil a babyface now? How did Chris Statlander go from being managed by Stokely and being a heel 2 weeks ago to all of a sudden she's a babyface without Stokely? There was no explanation. There was no reason. With AEW, you never know what each appearance will bring. They may just completely wipe out the story and start anew.
You never know what each appearance will bring. It's like if the Easter Bunny started bringing the kids cigarettes and tequila instead of chocolate eggs.
That was my idea.
That's probably in the
Moxomania.
In the neighborhood Moxley grew up in. That's probably what the Easter Bunny passed out.
Cincinnati.
I swear he's from Newport, but anyway.
Mitchell Goosen.
So Jay White and Juice are the baby faces, and they did something with Paige a week or two ago, right? I can't remember.
I think Paige beat Juice, and then Jay White returned?
That's right. And he returned to help out. So they once again they put Juice in the position of the setup guy, the little brother, the sidekick, the pal. He's the star of the show. He's not even out there. But anyway, at the same time, neither guy's work here is really babyface or heel. Paige is acting more like an asshole, and they're just doing shit. And it begins, again, Jay White has just recently returned out of nowhere. Suddenly, he's in such a hot angle with this fucking guy that they are power bombing each other on the fucking stairs by the first 5 minutes of the first fucking match. The referee it's a normal match. It wasn't stated as no disqualification, lazy booking. They just never get back in the goddamn ring. They fight back to the ramp. Paige is going to whip him with his belt, but the referee tries to take it away, and he manhandles the referee, and then White picks Paige up and gives him the old Ric Flair figure four setup knee breaker over the knee. But he gives it to him on the fucking ramp. And then the guy, he gets up and continues the goddamn match. And they broke the count by getting back in the ring at the count of 5, and they had been outside for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. The referee had got to 5. I have more notes. Would you like to hear some more?
Yeah.
They took a few more hospitalization bumps, and then Jay White made a comeback. And he's been working on Paige's bad leg. Of course, remember that he got knee breakered on the fucking entrance ramp and continued his match, but he just can't execute the buckshot. So Paige tries the buckshot with the bad leg, but Jay White catches him in his finish. Boom, 1, 2, 3. So now you know that I'm no fan of Hangnail Adam Page. I'm not his fan club president. I've not sung his praises, but they built this guy up like this, and they beat him with a guy that's just come back out of nowhere in this violent first match where, not sure who's supposed to be The goddamn guy we're rooting for to begin with. And he just beats him fucking flat. Boom. If it was Jay White's debut in the company ever as a surprise, maybe. But we've already seen what we saw a year almost of Jay White before we got a break of Jay White. And it's kind of black and white that everybody was pretty fucking dim on Jay White, wasn't it?
The only people that go crazy about Jay White are people that loved him in New Japan. And I guess that's one of the great examples of how things from New Japan can't work over here or need to work over here. I'm not saying Jay White couldn't, but it shouldn't be Jay White with Juice Robinson as the second. It should be the other way around. Juice is bigger. Juice has a better look. He's got more of a wrestler's personality. His promos, we haven't heard too many Juice Robinson promos, so you can't say they're classics or anything, but they come across like a wacky personality more than, I am here, because just every fucking promo from the guy, and he's small, I'm sorry. And I know with AEW, you kind of have to look the other way because half the roster are really small. Jack Perry, Orange Cassidy, Hook, this guy. There are so many guys that are like Tony Khan size on this show. And at least Jay White's in shape. I'll give him that. But like you said, Adam Page, by the way, where were the cops? This is his first time in Washington since he burned down Swerve's house in Washington. No arrest.
Oh, shit, that's right.
That was in Washington, right? He's from Seattle, Swerve.
Well, that that's what they say on the news, that the criminals are taking over the Pacific Northwest.
But Adam Page has been getting a push. He beat the shit out of Swerve and sent him away for, a month? Why is he losing to Jay White? There's a ceiling to Jay White. You tried to push him. You had him beat MJF when MJF was the world champion. Why do this again? I'm not saying don't use Jay White, but he shouldn't be a focused character. And if you're going to focus on anyone, for American pro wrestling that would work for American pro wrestling, Juice Robinson. I'm sick of saying I wish these guys were in NXT. I know he used to be apparently years ago. But there's a character just ready for wrestling on TV, and they don't do anything with him. He's a lackey. He's a flunky. For no reason.
And I have a new synonym or a couple for you, Brian. When we're talking about the size of some of these people, I've looked up microorganism, which is defined as an organism of microscopic size, especially a bacterium or protozoan. So you can say that they're bacterium-sized or protozoan in appearance. Something else we can, I just hate to say the same words all the time. I try to learn a new word every day. You know what? This morning, I looked up the word opaque in the dictionary. The definition was unclear.
Well, there you go. But seriously, there's a ceiling to some of these guys based on their skinniness and that they look like guys who are in shape in some cases. Orange Cassidy looks like a guy in shape. He looks like a guy 145 pounds in really good shape.
And really boring. And somebody that you would cut your throat if you had to sit in the same room with.
But if there was a division with all those guys, it would probably work a lot better because you wouldn't be seeing them against guys who, it just looks ridiculous. When I watch Jack Perry against Shibata, I know we'll get to it. On its face, it's ridiculous. On its face, it's ridiculous. And there's a lot of that in AEW. Again, Jay White's not to that level, but I think that's one of the things that's going to hold Jay White back from getting over with anyone outside of people predisposed to liking him from New Japan.